Hi everyone. It's so nice to have you in virtual class again. This is Tuesday, April 14th, and today we're going to learn about the phases of the moon. Here's a picture of me mountain biking. Try to get out there, but socially distance yourself from other people. So there was a couple of questions that I wanted to answer. Some people were asking about the House of the Scorpion book. If you finish that entire book and the book what is it called? Reading guide. Turn that into me somehow, some way, and you will get 50 extra credit points for doing that. Yay! For any work that was done before spring break, I'm going to give you 5 points extra credit for each assignment that was done, because I do want to honor the work that people did. So that should help some of you guys on projects and quizzes over the next month as we finish up the year. Okay, so I will also put that on Google Classroom, write that down. So let's go first to the document that I had you start yesterday, because there's some questions about when this is going to be due. And so you'll notice this page here kind of shows you some of the phases of the moon. And you're going to actually start whatever date you start. You can put the date on there. Here's a picture that I took this on yesterday morning, Monday. At 8:40 a.m. I was walking my dogs, and there was the moon, and that's actually a last quarter moon. If you notice, the left side of the moon is shaded, and it looks like half of it is shaded. And if I look at this document here, and you're going to learn how to identify this, the left is shaded, and it looks like about half of it's shaded, and so it's almost a last quarter moon. So we're going to learn about that. So every day you'll take a picture of it, and I'm going to show you how to access information for Tuesdays. Again, this is going to be due May the 11th. It is worth 50 points. You'll learn a lot as you do this. Please enjoy this assignment. Yesterday I kind of showed you on the video this document here. And that was like for Monday, April 13th. And you'll notice that it says like Tuesday, 57% of the moon should be highlighted today. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a website that you can use as you're doing this activity. And I'm going to try to see if I can make it bigger. There it is. So this website, it has it's called Moonrises, Moonsets, and I actually have Montrose up there. And so I'm going to actually try to see if I can highlight some of this information. So today is the 14th, and you're going to notice that on the 14th, looking at this document, the moon rose at 2:19 a.m. and will set 11:57 a.m., which means either you're going to wake up real early, but you'll see it kind of like in the morning. Now, if you look at the 13th, I'm going to look at this document here. Let me go back, point to this document. The 13th, let's see if I can erase. Now, you're going to notice that, so on the 13th, the moon rose at 1:23 a.m. and set at 11 a.m. And on the 14th, it rose at 2:19 a.m. and sets at 11:57 a.m. And so what happens is every day it rises and sets about 50 minutes later, which is going to be something that we'll talk about as we learn more about the moon. Okay, so let me take this and make that smaller, and I'll try to guide you with these videos about what time the moon is rising and set, so you know when to go look. Do here is I'm going to pull up this document. There's a document that I have put on Google Classroom today, and it's called Identifying the Phases of the Moon, and this is going to be due on Friday or next Monday at the latest, April 17th. And you need to do this before you do the moon quiz. that you're going to be getting on Thursday. And what I've done is I've labeled what should be done each day. So on Tuesday, you need to do this page and this other page. And as you do it, try to highlight words because the information on the quiz is going to come from here. It doesn't take that long. And then if you'll notice the page 3 is Wednesday, and I've kind of titled all of those. It looks a little long, but what's nice is there is an answer key somewhere. On the bottom, you have all the answers to everything that you need, so you can just check your work. So again, this will be turned in. It is worth 30 points. And you can use it on your quiz if you need to. So, so you're going to do those over the next couple days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you'll take the quiz when you're done with this. Yesterday, you learned a couple of things about the moon. You learned that it is about 1/4 the size, the diameter of the Earth, and that it's pretty far away from the Earth. You created a model and hopefully turned that into Google Classroom. I can't wait to see all your pictures. The mass, again, is about 1/100th that of the Earth. Again, the moon has little or no diameter. It has low density compared to the Earth. It revolves around the Earth once every month, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in this lesson. It rotates on its axis once every month, and it has synchronous rotation because we only see one side of the moon from the Earth, and this lesson is going to explain that. So today you're going to learn about moon phases, and one of the things about the light from the moon, it is reflected sunlight. And half the moon's surface is always reflecting light. It doesn't matter, even though we see 1/4 of the moon, or it looks like we see what's a full moon is only really half of the moon's light we're seeing. It's always reflected light. It doesn't create its own light. Now, from Earth, we see different amounts of the moon's lit surface, and that's what we're going to learn about how to identify. And those amounts that are seen are called the phases. So it's just a phase. Now, the moon, you're going to be looking at the slides. And one of the things I want you to understand as you look at the slides, you need to be able to identify the difference between a revolution and a rotation. And so a revolution is the moon moving around the Earth. And it takes about 27 1/3 days to move around the Earth to its same spot. Now, the moon rises in the east and sets in the west. And I'd like you to kind of start seeing how this occurs. Just like the sun, it appears to rise in the east and set in the west. Now, the moon rises and sets 50 minutes later each day, and it rotates on its axes on every 27 days, which is why we see only one side of the moon. Now, when you look at the slides, there's a video here, and this video is going to talk to you about the difference between rotation and revolution. So the same side of the moon always faces the Earth. We never see the back side of the moon. I didn't say the lighted side, I said the back side. Now, as you fill out your moon observation sheet, you're going to understand how the moon goes from full to crescent to quarter to gibbous. You'll be able to identify those shapes. Now, there is on this slide, there's a song called Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven, and this is going to play the song, and it's going to show you the moon's phases throughout a month. And I want you to observe what side of the moon has light and what side has dark as it goes from new moon to full moon. A couple of jokes. Okay, enough jokes. I guess you didn't get that. Now, one of the things, too, you're going to start to understand, and I'm going to try to draw on this, is that we know that the Earth tilts. It has its tilt. And you're going to see this in a video. The plane of the Earth's orbit is right here. Now, the plane of the Earth's orbit, and you'll learn a little bit more about this, goes like this. And as it revolves around The sun, that is the plane that is going around, and you'll see some other videos that will help illustrate that a little bit later. Now, what ends up happening throughout the month, the moon is either below that plane of orbit or it's above that plane of orbit, which is opposite to the sun. The sun's going to be a little bit different with its light. And so you're going to notice that the moon is kind of like in different spots throughout the month as you look at the sky. Now, there are a lot of diagrams that you're going to have to look at a little bit more closely when you look at these slides. And as you look at these slides, keep in mind that the sun's rays are going in this direction. And as you look at the different phases, okay? Now, let's look at a new moon phase. Because the sun's rays are hitting the other side of the moon, when the sun and the moon and the earth are in a straight line, we're going to have what's called a new moon, which means you're not going to see anything. You won't see a moon in the daytime sky or the nighttime sky. Now, when we have a full moon or close to a full moon you're going to see usually at night. When you get a lot more lighted side of the moon, whether it's a gibbous or any kind of gibbous moon where there's more than about 70% of the moon surface showing, you're going to tend to see that at night. But you're going to tend to see what's interesting, and right now we're starting to see this. We are at the last third quarter. And so you're going to be seeing the light on the left-hand side of the moon as you look at it from the Earth. And when we have the last third quarter or towards a new moon, you're going to tend to see the moon in the early mornings, in the daytime. A new moon is going to probably occur, because we won't see it, you're going to probably see that more during the midday, which means you won't see the moon at night. And so you will learn this as you complete that moon observation sheet. And if you do it correctly, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And I wish I was with you to kind of show that. But look at this sheet, study it a little bit more carefully, and you're going to see a model, a video on some of the other slides that hopefully will help you understand it. This is kind of a complicated thing. You're going to have to revisit some of the models over and over again as you do the exercises. Now, here's another model of the same thing, but with what the moon would look like from Earth. This is what we would see from Earth. So right now, we're seeing the left-hand side of the moon shaded. So tomorrow will be something like this. In a couple of days, we won't see the moon at all. But when you see the left-hand side of the moon shaded, that is a waning moon, okay? Waning means on the left side. That means you're going to new moon. Now, from new moon, you're going to start to see the light show up on the right side. And that'll start happening probably the end of next week. And then when we get to first quarter, again, the light is going to be on the right-hand side. So I kind of think of putting wax on the moon. Wax on the right, wax on. And so you're getting more light. Okay, so again, this is what you're seeing from Earth. This is the perspective from the alignment, okay? So the boxes here are what you're seeing from Earth. So a waxing moon is a moon that's heading towards full moon. And then after the full moon, you're going to have a waning moon. That means it's going away. And we'll learn more about that. I really need you to watch this video on the slides because it's going to help you kind of understand the perspective of how it moves throughout the month, what's a revolution, rotation, and how the shading's going. This is something I would have done with you in class.